Rasa today with Senator Peter Cayetano to talk about upcoming elections, his vice presidential bid, his tandem with Davao Mayor Rudy Duterte. In the past presidential debates, Cayetano has been consistent about their tandem's anti-crime platform, particularly a promise to eradicate crime within 3 to 6 months. What will define a Duterte presidency? This man actually has some answers. What's it like on the campaign trail? What about the controversies that are there? And remember, it's only 3 days left before D-Day. So, without any further introductions, Alan, it is good to have you here in Rappler.
Magandang araw. It's a blessing to be here today. Congratulations, Rappler. Beautiful office.
Thank you.
Great people. And
It's your
I
first
thought
time.
I was in New York or somewhere where yung napapanood lang namin sa sine. Lalo yung students, you should see the Rappler office. No?
That means we're young. Anyway, so why don't I go directly to the latest controversy that is hitting your camp, which is the ad that was played last night on ABS-CBN. Negative ad, I guess. What's your reaction?
Actually, the negative ads where they exploit children and they cut mayor speeches to make it appear otherwise, no, of what he was really saying, is part of the bigger conspiracy of the last 3 issues that they had against him. No? The alleged rape joke, the Trillanes exposés, and now this negative ad. Although the alleged rape joke actually happened and came from a speech, the networks never really allowed him to fully explain. They would give him a 30-second soundbite kind of explanation. No? And let me put it this way, Mariana. The whole campaign was based on one Philippines, one law. Rich or poor, Muslim or Christian, from Visayas, Mindanao, young or old, man, woman, LGBT, whatever your preference in life, whatever your job is, there should be one law. No? So we're all afraid of the law, but we also all embrace the law. That's been the theme of the whole campaign. Kaya nga political will to follow the law. No? And Senator Trillanes basically got a wastebasket and got trash out of it and used the trash as a propaganda against Mayor Duterte and then put our constitution, put all the laws in the trash. And the problem is, the type of reporting we got by one particular network was really disgusting. I mean, in the debate, instead of saying fire upon me, they said fire upon China, which would have caused an international incident if the Chinese reacted or people from the UN read it.
You're talking about ABS-CBN.
About ABS-CBN and their tweet. In my debate, the VP rules was very clear, but they asked a question against Mayor Duterte, which was against the rules. So we kept our mouth shut because how do you balance the interest of the media and people? And you cannot tell the media how to do their job.
Yes.
Now, it's more dangerous for us to tell them how to do their job than them being unfair to us. So why are we concerned? Now, we're not afraid about the negative ads, but why are we concerned with this? First of all, it's totally illegal and immoral. There is no provisions for negative ads, and you look at all the laws, even the KBP, even the guidelines for advertising, no? It'll be too long for me to read the legal, no? But yeah. I went through it. It's not allowed. Number 2, today they disapproved my 1-minute ad, which was just a snippet. Kinuha lang po namin yung last part ng debate namin sa ABS-CBN, and yung 1 minute where I talk about the EDSA revolution and I talk about my dad, and why I see Mayor Duterte. No, why I see my dad in Mayor Duterte is love for the country and is willing to sacrifice. They disapproved it. No, the ethics committee disapproved it. No vulgarity. It was on ABS. It was aired. They disapproved it. Then they're not allowing Channel 7 to show it, GMA 7, because they owned out the footage. But etong kay Mayor Duterte na kinat-cut nila, na footage nila, they're allowing Channel 7 to show it. No? So sa amin, it's very clear. My enemy's enemy is my friend. So we have people who are close to us who are in the Rojas and Po camp. The palace has initiated last week. They're talking. The problem is they cannot agree who will withdraw because of the recent surveys where they're almost tied. So when Grace was so far ahead, they were willing to talk because they were going to say, Mar, you give way to Grace. But now that Mar is claiming to be ahead with one survey,
Yeah.
and Po is claiming, long story short, the palace has stepped in and the president has stepped in and said anyone but Duterte, which is okay with us, but follow the rules. No, so us, it's not really about winning anymore. I mean, Mayor Duterte wants change, wants to stand up for the people, but if people don't want him, he'll be okay. He said he'll go home, he'll retire, he'll have a happy life. He might say, some people around him may say, sayang, you could have been the next president. But sa kanya, people want me, okay. If you don't want me, okay, no. But follow the rules. And the problem right now is that basically ABS-CBN, but also in general, the COMELEC should supervise. The networks are throwing out the rules. I mean, 3 days to go. If you put that on last week, walang problema. We'll tape our own ad. We'll answer that. We'll go to our rallies. Our diehard supporters will answer that in social media, and it will trickle down. But now with 3 days to go, and the reach of these channels, and Senator Trillanes, where will he get 20, 30 million pesos for this? And even if he does get 20, 30 million pesos for this, why didn't he put ads for himself?
Yes.
Because obviously the people who gave him the money said, I'll only give you the money if you put up this anti-Duterte ad. And it's not even an ad that is moral, because it's completely false. No? For example, they're making it appear that he is totally for the NPA. They did not show the speeches when they said, I will tell the NPA there is a problem with land reform, and we have to do something about it. No? They did not show the part where they said, if the NPA, MLF will not talk, I will defend the Philippines, not them. Mar Rojas has in his platform that he will talk with the NPA. The left, the legal front of the left are supporting Grace po. No? But since it's the end game, all the bogies, the corruption bogey, the communist bogey, the anti-women bogey are being thrown all at Mayor Duterte. Fair game if it is thrown as a press release, as a news report, and we're allowed to answer. But with 3 days to go and only 2 days to advertise, today and tomorrow, that amount of money, and then the networks disapproving our ads and approving their ads.
So
It's just it's a microcosm of what's happening sa bansa. When the elite and powerful get together, pwede. When the small guy, hindi pwede.
So you mentioned ABS-CBN. Do you see the same type of behavior in GMA7?
Well, GMA7, our information, initially disapproved the ad. I don't know why they now approved it. But they have not, I haven't seen a statement. Channel 2 ABS-CBN said that their ethics committee approved it. They are duty bound to show it. We haven't monitored biased tweets, articles, reporting from Channel 7, in general. That's why we didn't come up with that conclusion. We do content analysis. We monitor the news. So for example, Grace po gets much more coverage, much more minutes before and during the campaign. Lenny Robredo gets double, triple than any vice presidential candidate, except for Bongbong, which is a lot of negative. We were all given the same amount on DZMM, but Congresswoman Robredo had two news in the primetime news that same day and the next day. She had it on Bandila and she had it in the next morning, UKG, replays or news reports of what she said. I was on DZMM, I only had the next morning. So with Chis Escudero, So, but again, when is it the discretion of the newsroom?
I actually would say, Alan, you in the past have also benefited from the agenda-setting powers.
Agreed. That's why until these negative ads, I don't want to be a hypocrite that if you had more TV time, you'll say that they're fair if you have less. That's why I'm saying the other biases, we have overlooked it. And with maximum tolerance, let's just say that, we're controversial, so we're the butt of criticism, jokes. Okay lang yon, Maria. I'm saying, Maria, that's okay. But take it together with the Trillanes expose, with getting confidential documents, as in the Land Registration Authority will come out with a list of properties. If you go there now and ask for the list of properties of Benigno Aquino or of Butchabad or of Trillanes, do you think they'll give you? If you go now to the BSP, the Banco Central, or you go to the AMLA, do you think they'll even give you where my bank is? No. So put all of this together with the airing of these ads with no notice to us, and then worse, they disapprove our ads. No, my ad was simply endorsing Mayor Duterte, but being in the ABS-CBN debate. What's wrong with that? What's unethical?
Yes.
Pero yung chinap-chap mo, speeches niya, and then ginamit mo yung mga bata, obviously exploiting children, that's ethical. Baka ABS should rename their ethics committee to the unethical committee because they only approve unethical ads. This happened 2 years ago. We had an ad we wanted to compare the corruption that was happening in Makati. They have tripled the budget of Taguig, but we had better services in some aspects. So one of the subliminal effects is there's a guy with a Makati t-shirt in a health center. No? ABS disapproved it. Their ethics committee were so strict. So I've never complained because that's their standard and we have to follow their standard. How come when it comes to Duterte, they totally lower their standard? How come when it comes to Po and Rojas and others, they put up their standard? How come our ad, which was just a part of the debate, they don't want to play? But in the ads of the negative, they do want to play.
Have you talked to them?
Yes and no.
Okay.
No? I mean, through people in the debates, we saw each other.
Okay.
Mr. Lopez came to shake the hands of everyone in the debates, and I heard one guy talking, saying, just in general, you need anything, sir, fair is okay with us. No, some of the hosts that were badgered and got bad reviews in the internet called me and was just saying, we have nothing against you, but all of this taken together, because we're all people, and
Of course.
For those watching, no, the people, the newsmakers and the people who cover us, we know each other.
Of course.
Diba? And we feel free to say na that's fair, that's not fair. But you don't usually complain officially. And without this negative ad and without this confidential information coming out, which by the way is false,
Okay.
you know, if you came out with an expose on Duterte and it was true, I'd still be balancing myself. On one hand, follow the law.
Yep.
On the other hand, we can't have a corrupt president.
Yes.
But you come up with the correct account number, then a false transaction record and a false amount. It's just completely foul. It's half-truth to make people believe a falsity, you know.
So let's zoom into this. And for those of you watching, I see the questions that you're throwing on social media, the actual charges and the allegations. You can read the stories on Rappler. They'll be coming out. More of them will be coming out today. But let's zoom in on just right now. What are you going to do about it?
Well, first, I'm here in Rappler, and the social media has been a prime mover in this election, getting people to volunteer, getting people to think, getting people to argue. And maybe I throw this question and this thought, no, to my friends in the Mar camp, my friends in the Po camp, my friends in the Binay camp. What do we gain if we gain the world but lose our soul in the process? This election is supposedly about, you know, law and order, about establishing order from chaos, about a tuwid na daan, about pagbabago. But you're willing to throw out all of our laws, all the laws of decency, morality, and all the COMELEC and fair election law, just so that you will win? You know, wouldn't you ask me the same question, no? If I today, you know, I have much credibility because of my anti-corruption record, no? I was in EDSA 1, EDSA 2. You've covered me, Maria, whether with Rappler, Newsbreak, or even ABS. You not always agreed with me, but you would agree that I was there, no? Whether it was the Bina investigation, the fertilizer scam, swine scam, etc. I could use that credibility now to invent stuff about Mar and Grace, to invent stuff about Pinoy, to invent stuff about the COMELEC. But what do I gain after the election kung lolokohin ko tao? So that's why we're making noise about it. And I will have a press con after this. We are also going to act in, we were going to take some legal options. No? It's being studied now, and our lawyers are meeting and doing it because Mayor Duterte said, you know, let's not be above the law. In fact, he doesn't like us complaining. But we believe it's too big an issue. If we're talking about reforming the police, taking out corruption, if the elite can get together with the palace and a network and do something like this, it changes the balance, of not only decency, but of how you run a country. You cannot work so hard for a campaign, and then in the last 3 days, you'll lose it because of 3 letters, ABS and GMA. Remember, in other countries, you have several networks.
Yeah.
So if 1 or 2 are reporting this way, that way, it'll balance out,
Yeah.
So we do have a lot of networks, but if you look at the reach in terms of advertising, and when the medium is the message, meaning audio, video, is the most effective way to reach the most number of people,
Yes.
to repeat the most number of times in the last 2 days. You're at the mercy of Channel 2 and Channel 7, ABS and GMA, what they approve and don't approve. But under the law, COMELEC has supervision.
Yes.
So why isn't the COMELEC stepping in now? If they allow negative ads, so if I now put a cut of a negative ad against Grace Po and take her out of context, if I now put a cut of against, if I put on TV yung sinasabi ni the President, papasagasa ako sa trend, kung hindi ko magawa yung trend, will they put it up? I don't think they will, no?
In terms of, so you're looking at legal action, but it's 3 days left.
Yes.
Right, so in terms of tactics, what are you, aside from telling the public what you're seeing, and this is the first time you're doing that, what's next for you?
Well, if I may say so, in a way, I look at it as a blessing. Because, if everyone just said, Mayor Duterte will shine your shoes, will kiss up to you, or Mayor Duterte, sip-sip na kami kasi panalo ka na. Your drive for reform, or at least some people around him, might be tempered, especially when it comes to reform that you have to do with the networks and the media. But now that the political elite, the economic elite, and the elite in the media is bound together for this conspiracy, it just gives us more strength. If the Lord puts Mayor Duterte there, if I'm with him one way or the other, then there are things we have to work on. It'll be a delicate balance against, because we don't want to go, against the freedom of, reporting, media, news. But at the same time, you cannot have 2 or 3 news outlets dictating to the Filipino people who should win and lose.
So again, this is not a new charge among your supporters. Every media
Yes.
group, I think, has been hit by charges, and tons of them, a
Yes.
swarm on social media of.
But that's not directed by our campaign. That are
Okay.
individual opinions. So even if we say they're not, for example, a lot of people were saying, ang laki ng rally dito, hindi nyo kinover. Kami nakiki-explain kami.
Okay.
So when we tell them, but that was 11 at night, and it was in a far-flung barangay, and the media did not have a helicopter, and they were there. So nakiki-explain din kami. But sometimes when patently naman na biased or for example, stories have been changed in
Yeah.
ABS-CBN to twist the words of Mayor Duterte, and I've seen the evidence, and I have communicated that to their news team to let them know that we know. And people inside are the ones who told us. So yun, hindi na yun, that's more than the maximum tolerance. I mean, like you, Maria, anyone can call you and say that, but you look at it. First,
Yes.
initially you'll defend the reporter, then you'll take a quick look at it. So
Yeah.
all we were asking from all of this was take a look at it. We never complained,
Yeah.
officially or unofficially, but the die-hard supporters will do it.
Yeah. Let me ask you again, this is the contradiction in Mayor Duterte, and I
Yes.
wrote about this a while ago, that while he says he will maintain the rule of law, oftentimes he also says he will break the law. And in this instance, the crowd, I think what people fear in a Duterte presidency is that this kind of anger online, where they've threatened people, they've harassed people, that this behavior, the bullying behavior, will become the norm. How do you respond to
Okay.
this?
First of all, it's like that in any revolution. Remember, this is the pent-up frustration. Ito po yung mga nabuo na galit, sakit. To put it in another way, may pinanghuhugutan ang publiko eh. Di ba? I mean, people who have relatives who are OFWs, and then you saw Ate Gloria losing her job because of tanimbala.
Yeah.
The recent senior citizens, past 70 years old, in-interview yung Tuwid na Daan, ano sabi nila? If you bring bullets inside the airport, you're gonna get caught. Hindi nga sila ang may dalang bala, LTO, no? Anyone I ask, do you have fast internet? Sasabihin na mabagal. Sasabihin ko, sing bagal ng LTO, sigawan na ang tao. Sabihin ko, sing bagal ba ni Secretary Abaya? Lalong sisigaw. Sing bagal ba ni Mar Rojas? People will say yes, no? So this, these frustrations, and look at both sides of the coin, Mariano. If you text, kayo mga Duterte, bobotante kayo, weren't you the first one to be insulting?
Yeah.
So when they respond, then you complain na they're bullying. Of course, there's no room talaga for, you don't cross the line in saying that you will physically harm people, no? But my phone is full, so I have Facebook, I have Rappler. Sometimes when I see people harassing, I look at it and I press. Some are really Duterte supporters, but some are Mar or Grace supporters threatening the others. Why do I know? Because when you press their account, ang nakadon pictures with their candidates.
Yes.
So it's a mix. But aside from that, I think that's one thing that changed this election.
And so let's go there.
For politicians, it is normal in a barangay election to be very emotional.
Yes.
Magkapikunan kayo, magkatulakan, magkamurahan. Why? Because in the barangay, your neighbors, your relatives, your classmates, and everything.
Right.
It's not normal in a bigger city and in a national magkapersonalan.
Yes.
This is the first time it is. Why? Because of social media.
Correct.
It's so intimate. It's real time. You can basically smell, taste it. I mean,
Yes.
of course, the cell phone doesn't have any smell, but you can paste the picture, you can put the video, etc. So, for example, if you posted something like, I like Lenny, she's a real fighter, and I know you,
Yes.
or I'm Alan support will say, Maria, never naman lumaban yun sa SSS lang, hindi lumaban, pero si Alan lumaban sa ganito, ganito, ganito. Or reverse, no?
Yes.
You put Alan is the best choice, and you're a Lenny support and say, bakit naman, may ganito si Alan, si Lenny, wala, no? So it became so emotional. So it had two effects. One, it gave you more passionate supporters. That's why in the Duterte camp, they're spending their money.
Yeah.
They're waiting 5 hours for a rally, no? They're buying their own T-shirts, they're printing their own posters, they have caravans using their own cars, they're getting their own permits, they're harassed themselves by police, no? So, pasensya nyo na kung medyo passionate din sila minsan sa pagsasagot.
Yes.
Because tinataya nila sarili nila. Di ba?
And this is a first, wouldn't you say, of
Yes.
the elections that
Yes.
we've lived through?
I've been
This is
around.
the most
I think
engaged.
my first election that I participated is 1992.
Yes.
But I was with my dad in 84 and 87. So I've been monitoring elections for 3 decades. This is the first that you have a national election with the feel of a barangay election where people are not arguing for their candidates but for themselves. I am Duterte.
Yes.
I am Rojas. I am po. Ganun ang ano nung tao, no?
Your chances of winning, how would you rate it now, 3 days in the elections?
If I look at the survey, no, you would say that the chances are not that great. Okay. If you look at the survey numbers, no.
Yeah.
But if you look at the whole research, the numbers are jumping for vice president. In 1 week, it could jump 7% up, 5% up and down, no. So we have just recently launched, the mayor has shifted a little bit and has been endorsing me more and has been telling our supporters that, his supporters, that if you're going to vote for me, get someone that will back me up, someone I trust, no? And that's my traction. The debates also gave me some traction. So in our regional debates, for example, regional surveys, I'm number 1 in the whole Mindanao, with almost a 10% lead from the nearest one. In Region 7, Central Visayas, very high. So there are certain areas, if I do very good, what's a miracle win, no? Miracle win would be, after people vote Duterte, I'm number 1. If they suddenly think, if you want real change, and you want someone who'll be there for the mayor, be Alan. Because all the other candidates have made negative already statements about the mayor. Senator Marcos has called him out on the alleged rape issue. Congresswoman Lenny has already stated that she'd rather have Mar and she cannot work with, she'll have a hard time and she cannot support the way he deals with peace and order. Senator Cheese said federalism will not work, no? So that's the outside chance. I call it an outside chance because
You're calling it a miracle win
Yeah,
for you, right?
yes,
This is your words.
yes, because
earlier.
if I was the number one in the survey, I would, think that it would go that way. So I also have to be practical, no? That I see the numbers, I see the opportunities. It's not, by the way, it's not unfounded.
Yeah.
There has been an upset versus the surveys in
Yes.
Israel, in the UK, in the US.
Yes.
But in all these things, the difference with Mayor Duterte, in all of this, is because of the softness of the support in the vice presidency.
Yeah.
Unlike in the presidency,
We're
the diehards are there,
Yeah, yeah.
No, and the focus is there.
Yeah. In terms of the old, you talked about the difference between these elections and the past. What else? I mean, in traditional elections, right? The traditional methods of
Well,
winning an election. Do they still work?
Participation of people.
Okay.
Before, it's all the politicians do all the talking. Now, more and more, people are empowered. I've been in a big rally with Mayor Duterte in Camarines Sur, in Naga. After the rally, he had a quick dinner, which was 5 minutes dinner and 25 minutes of selfies with supporters. Then he had to go to a 120-seater of mayors, congressmen, women, and candidates, no? But he took time to be with 8 women from different sectors in Camarines Sur. And he said he only had 10 minutes, but he spent 30 minutes. And all of them wouldn't let him go with an additional question. So I see, whether rich or poor, whether urban or rural, whether professional or white or blue collar, people now know that they have a right. People now know that, you can't say, I'm just Alan, I'm just one person. Students, you have the UPLB student who said, just a minute, I don't like your answer, so whether we agree with him or not, people, one change is people are much more empowered.
Yeah.
And the more media and the more internet access, the more empowered. Yung mga guns, goons, and gold, meron pa rin. But very few areas na lang, no? Panglaban sa guns, goons, and gold, media, internet, and people empowerment, no? Another change is that people are actually really spending their own money. No, I deeply admire and I've learned from Mayor Duterte. He is stuck to his principle na don't get humongous amounts of money, don't get from corporations, people who have contracts with government. He talks to everyone. Small 5-6 members of a group would ask to sit with him 5 minutes, if not him with representatives. They'd make their own t-shirts, make their own posters. In other elections, you'd have a campaign manager who say na, guys, we love volunteers, but they'll zap all of our energy and eventually they'll ask for money for gas or they'll volunteer their jeep, but they'll say, kalbo yung gulong, can you replace it, etc. But this one has been an amazing campaign. I saw tinges of it in the 2004 Brother Eddie campaign. But eto full blast. In the Brother Eddie's campaign, it was the believers, both in his flock and the believers in him for good governance. People would also bring their shirt, give 100 pesos, 50 pesos. But it wasn't on a nationwide, multi-sectoral, multi-age, level.
No, we agree. And right now on our Facebook stream, thank you guys, the camps are fighting amongst themselves of who is going to win. Of course, completely tons of Dutertes, Ducay, lots of greetings for you, which we'll send you. Let me throw a question that's come in from there. This is from RNV Dinglasan. What would you do if Poe and Robredo win these elections? Will you support and help them to change and stop the political corruption that's going on in the Philippine government?
Yes, I will help them regardless who wins, if they win fairly. Because if you steal the election, remember, that's the whole point of Grace Poe running. She said that the elections was stolen from her father.
Yeah.
So if she steals the election, and stealing the election is not only cheating in the ballots, but having a conspiracy with Malacanang is part of the cheating, no? But sa amin, fair game pa rin yan.
So do you see the conspiracy with Malacanang?
Oh, yes. They've been talking. There comes the Poe Rojas, initiated by the palace.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is what you
there's
said
no
earlier.
secrets now. I mean, there are people in all the camps. And then Poe is taking charge of talking with the Binay camp. So it's now the 3 candidates against Duterte. Why? Because 31
Yes.
to 35%. In our internal, it's much bigger.
Yeah.
It's about 15% lead, which is about 7.5 million votes. If 100% vote, about 5 to 6 million. For those fighting out there, I mean, let's be honest with each other. 3 weeks na,
Yeah.
todo, total black propaganda or issues, no, if you don't want to believe it's black propaganda, the numbers haven't moved for Mayor Duterte. Always a 10 to 15% lead. If Mar Rojas now was 10% ahead of anyone else, if Grace Poe was 10% ahead of anyone else, wouldn't you claim victory? Even the cheaters of the past could only cheat if you had 1 million votes.
Yeah.
More than 1 million and more than 2 million, absolutely not. And now the mayor is leading from 4 to 7 million.
Yeah.
We will now. That's why many of the Duterte Cayetano group believe that Mar Rojas and Senator Poe and the palace is trying to condition people's mind that he can lose. These ads that were put up now in Channel 2 initially and Channel 7 suddenly allowed it, no, are not to bring down the numbers of the mayor because they know it won't.
Yeah.
We already saw it. In fact, people hate black propaganda at this point in time. It is to condition people's mind that if Mar or Grace wins, it's because of the last minute ads. But that's why we're asking Pulse Asia and SWS, no? You've been there, you've done the surveys, regardless if people pay or not. Do the exit polls. If you don't do the exit polls, there'll be something fishy. Because you've done the exit polls in the past.
I'll throw another question also from Facebook, this time from Kent Dingones, and this is personal to you. How
Sure.
about the issue of Lani Cayetano in Taguig that was just filed by the Ombudsman?
What issue filed by the Ombudsman?
So, I think there hasn't been an issue,
No,
but
there's a case that claims that she locked down the Sangguniang Bayan. She disallowed the council from having a session.
okay.
Okay, it's been dismissed by the Sandigan Bayan twice, and the Ombudsman keeps filing it. But
I
the
see,
15
I
people
see.
who filed the case, 11 of them executed already an affidavit saying that it was a political group who asked them to do it, and it was not true. And we have all the pictures. If she or he is referring to the case filed by the B-Nice filed a case through their lawyer,
Yes, yes.
saying that we have ghost employees, which is the exact duplicate of Mayor Duterte.
Got it.
That's filed by Trillanes. Let me just make it clear. What COA said, which is a nationwide thing, why have a lot of casuals? No? They did not say they were ghost employees. So Trillanes did a binay. Both the binay camp and then Trillanes filed a case in the Ombudsman. It's not the Ombudsman who filed it, saying that we have a lot of ghost employees. But Davao and Taguig both submitted the names. We're inviting you. We're inviting the Ombudsman. We're inviting COA. We can have a head count, the physical head count, what they're doing. There's no ghost employees in Davao. There's no ghost employees in Taguig. And modern day times, Maria, you cannot have ghost employees. Mahuhuli ka talaga.
Let me follow up with something that we did see in the data from the 2013 elections, that while Taguig had a peaceful voting,
Sure.
the transmission of the votes in 2013 was extremely flawed.
Yes.
They didn't transmit. I mean,
Yes.
what, again, leading to charges that perhaps there was manipulation in Taguig.
Well, that's why the internal surveys and all the surveys are valid. No, I mean, my wife won against the Tingas when the mayor was a Tinga, the Justice Tinga ran, GMA was there. In the second, in 2013, no, it was really a landslide. They didn't even. She's unopposed now, by the way, the vice mayor and
Got it.
half of the councilors. No, but I am the one who called out the COMELEC under Chairman Brillantes. And I even debated with Senator Grace Poe because
Yes.
she was defending Brillantes.
Right.
And I told Senator Grace Poe, Ma'am, you're against cheating, but Brillantes promoted the Garci boys. Brillantes chopped the Smartmatic contract. There were more machines, PCOS machines, that did not transmit in 2013
Yes.
rather than 2010, despite the advances and more cell sites
That's
of Smart
correct.
and Globe.
Yes.
Okay? And in our hearing in the Senate after the 2013 election, COMELEC and Chairman Brillantes admitted to us that he knew beforehand that there will be more.
Okay.
That's why Commissioner Goyo Larzabal,
yeah.
is now questioning the new rules
Yes, he is.
of why the SD cards have to be delivered. No, I haven't studied it completely, no, but I am one with all of you that it is not enough that we have fair elections with the machines. It is essential that we perceive the elections to be fair. So I apologize if you think there was a problem with Taguig, but I fought very hard. I fought that Chairman Trillanes not be confirmed. I fought him every way. But the problem is, pag hindi election, hindi hat ang issue, you have minimal support. No, I got them to lower the price of the. They were spending 200 million for one warehouse. And after binulgar ko yon, I think half the price ang ginastos na for the next warehouse. No? Yung lines ngayon, yung excuse ng COMELEC, that was brought about also because plinit yung contract. So that's a problem, Maria, that with we're all busy. So you have to have public officials that you trust. That's why Duterte is a phenomenon. People trust him. People trust him to put the right people. People trust him to execute the law. People trust him that judges, COMELEC will all be fair. Kasi right now, you can't watch everyone. No, and you can't watch I believe in the integrity of this COMELEC. And I'm hoping that they'll do a great job. But, there are problems and it's really out there. No?
Let me ask you, your best and worst case scenario for May 9th, for Monday.
The best case is not even about Duterte winning. It's about fair, honest, credible elections. But the conspiracy, Malacanang, Grace Po, Mar Rojas, the network, and the other political elite are destroying all that now because of these negative ads which are prohibited by law, which are unethical, which are one way, are being shown. So if suddenly Mar or Grace wins, everyone will say, how could that happen when you had a 5-7 million lead and in 3 weeks of intense barrage hitting by traditional media, hindi naman bumaba. No? If Duterte wins, you've already sown the seed na kailangan magkudeta dahil pro-NPA. That's what Trillanes is trying to do. They already have a plan B. Make Lenny win with Duterte and then do a Arroyo versus a Estrada. It came straight from the horse's mouth. No? Trillanes said, if he wins, there's going to be a coup d'etat. The president has already said, we cannot have another dictator. Mayor Duterte has told us for 1,000 times, you have nailed you have hit the nail on the head, di ba na? He's a man of contradictions. He talks tough. But he said, we'll do it constitutionally. There'll be no dictatorship. Strong leadership and dictatorship are two different things. He will not close down media outfits. He will not close down the Supreme Court. He was saying it as an argumentum ad absurdum. Bring the argument to the absurd, di ba? Sabi niya, if you don't follow me, you don't get, this is what I'll do next, I'll do next, I'll do next. But people want the change. People are willing to be disciplined. People are willing for this reform, so you don't have to go to that extreme. No?
Let me ask you your worst case. So you kind of laid down
the worst case really is magkagulo tayo because of cheating. We saw that in 1986. We saw that in after Hello Garci.
What would you do? I mean, what will the camp of Duterte do if he loses?
If he loses, he'll go home, he'll retire. If he loses fairly. If he loses because he's cheated, it's not his call. He doesn't call out the people. He doesn't go on air and say mag-revolution or tao. What will people do? I mean, we went to Navotas, Malabon. It's a 10-kilometer ride. 6 hours kami. We went to Parañaque, Las Piñas, Muntinlupa. They've never seen a 6-lane, 4-lane road closed with people more than a kilometer. No, I mean, kampanya pa lang EDSA 1 and 2 na eh. What do you think they'll do if there's cheating? And it's not, by the way, Maria, it's not for Duterte. It's for change. People are frustrated with the type of laws, the type of government we have. People are saying, kami naman. We've given it to the political elite for 100 years.
But Alan, you were also part of that government.
I am. But I've also fought them along the way. No? So, I'm not saying, remember when they asked about El Nino, I didn't say Pinoy failed. I said we failed the farmers. When LTO failed, I said I'm part of government. but they're part of the administration.
So given now it's 3 days before, what was the tipping point to make you decide to actually, what you're saying is the
The
ad
negative
is just
ads.
the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
But you've known about all of these little things,
Yes,
the
but
conspiracy
maximum
thing.
tolerance. Kasi nga, we're also emotional beings,
Got
di ba? So, you know, just because we think a network is biased, that doesn't mean they are biased.
Yeah.
Any report against you, you have a part feeling that it's biased. But I took the route of protecting Mayor Duterte. As a father, he will protect the people, he protects me. But as a son or a younger brother, as one of his campaign, not the campaign manager, but one of those who are helping in the campaign, binantayan ko lahat yan. No, we have content analysis, we have people who are not necessarily for us, but working for us, monitoring all of this, monitoring the tweets, the abs.com, etc. No? I have reached out informally, no, just saying, fair lang tayo, fair lang tayo. But this negative ads, and then today of banning, not allowing my ad, endorsing the mayor, that's too much. That's discrimination na yun.
In terms of a Duterte presidency. And this is, I know that you guys have been asking a lot of questions on the chain. We're going to go back and try to answer them.
I'll try to answer.
Yeah.
Mas make
I
sense
know
so
I
that
have
we
to
can
let
get
you go
more
soon, right?
questions. I'm okay.
So no, tell me, what will a Duterte presidency look like?
Okay, just so that you have a picture, no? Go to Davao. Look at Davao. Google Davao. Internet sa Davao, no? When you go to Davao, no? Yes, the police are tough. But anywhere else, no? Nakita ang police, iilag ka eh. Baka mahulid up ka, baka mapagbintangan ka, whatever, no? To be fair, the police, a few lang ang bad apples or rotten eggs, no? Pero may perception eh. Di ba,
Pero
na-corrupt
Alan,
ang gobyerno.
again, the Davao thing, many have also questioned it. Davao is a smaller part, even though I did write it's a
Yes.
large segment, right?
Yes.
Now, given that the Duterte win seems there, what would be the next
Honestly,
steps?
people who go to Davao, they walk around at night and they feel safe. They are safe. So yes, the statistics are there. We never said it's murder-free.
Yeah.
We never said it's drug-free. But try to buy drugs in Davao. There's the feeling of fear if you're into drugs, but there's a feeling of respect kung wala. I'll give you another example. No? People are saying, how do we do it in 3 to 6 months? Everywhere we go, we ask, except for Davao, no? We ask people, may drugs pa dito? Everywhere we go, marami. Sa Davao lang sagot, hindi. Kilala nyo ba kung sino nagbebenta ng drugs? Do you know the people selling drugs? They will answer, people answer categorically, we know them. The barangay knows them, the tanods knows them, the police know them. Okay, ba't hindi kayo nagsusumbong? Why don't you whistleblow? No. Why? Because if the barangay captain is against you, they will get back at you. If the barangay captain is anti-drugs with you, but the mayor is pro-drugs, you will get in trouble. If the mayor, the barangay captain, and the complainant, you, are against drug, but the fiscal is loose and will lose the case, the drug lords will get back at you. If the fiscal is with you, the judge is not, you will lose the case. If the judge is with you, but you have a justice, a general, a senator protecting them, if all things work and you're in jail, what kind of jail do we have? A jail with a jacuzzi, a jail with a band, a jail where you can cook shabu, a jail where you have sex toys, where you can order women or men, a jail where you have drugs inside the jail. So what will a Duterte Cayetano government look like? First day, you call 120 biggest cities mayors. You call the governors. It's only 200 people. You call less than 100 generals. The mayor will tell them, I'm giving a week to update the order of battle. Don't fool me. You know who the pushers are. I want their names, address, where they sell, etc. That's 1 week. On the second week, I want to see the operations. These are buy-bust. All legitimate, all planned, all with rules of engagement. During this time, inaayos yung intelligence fund, like what they do in Davao. No, the mambabalot, the tricycle driver, jeepney driver, the guards in the stores get a little bit. They're given phone cards. They're told to report new faces, selling of drugs, etc. CCTVs in certain areas, wherein you will follow the smaller drug lords or the people selling drugs, pushers, so that you can go to the supply. No? If they give up, they will be in real jails, not 5-star jails. If they don't give up and they fight, the police will be ordered to use force. No? Why is this important? 60% of all crime is drug-related. You get rid of drugs, you get rid of 60% of crime. Okay. And we all know that when someone is killed or caught, others are scared. Ganun tayong Pilipino.
Correct. Deterrence.
Deterrence.
Actually, deterrence,
Okay.
right?
How about the court? How will we fix it? During my dad's time with President Ramos, they talked to the Supreme Court. They created special criminal courts. Within 60 to 90 days, tapos yung kaso. No postponements. The lawyers will be fined, will be held in contempt pag delay sila ng delay. Both sides will be given due process. So there will be reforms, the fiscal, in the judiciary, etc. But one thing we will immediately do is double the pay of police. Because you cannot enforce when the enforcers are corrupt. And there are many, 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 many in government that are not corrupt, but are needy. They're not greedy, they're needy. So corruption by need will vanish, while corruption by greed will be dealt with. We will also immediately put together a plan of putting the departments out of Metro Manila. So the Department of Tourism to Cebu, the DNR and the Department of Agriculture to Mindanao, the DOTC to Clark, no? So there will be plans like that we probably can do it with 6 months to a year. And while we're doing it, we'll be putting together a package for a micro, small, medium enterprise. By the way, no, why all these plans? Why just now? Why were you asking me? Because all of these plans are best practices all around the world. No, Thailand alone, no? Whether it's tourism, their SME bank, tourism-related infrastructure, they have the best programs. South Korea, Singapore has best SME practices, but it'll take the leadership to do it.
Right.
So Pinoy was very good in the economy, but in the macro side with the big corporations, not in the SME side, not in Philippine industry. I don't want to do here what Mayor makes me do. He makes me show my shoe. Sometimes I have to take it out. I'm wearing Marikina shoes. I've been doing it for 3 years.
Yes.
All my leather shoes are made in Marikina or Philippine made. All of my topsiders are Marikina made. They're 1,500 to 2,000 pesos. In 1992, 100,000 people worked in Marikina making shoes. 2,000 to 40,000. Ngayon, 4,000. Okay, question. Are you saying we're going back to the 70s patriotic by Filipino? Partially. We will use also creativity. We will ask DTI. Pag pumunta dito si President Obama, we gave the bases for free. Halos free. If we ask them, can President Obama wear Philippine-made shoes? Can one of his... si Paris Hilton came here.
Yeah.
If we talk to her promoters and said, can she wear a bag made of shells from Cebu? They'd probably say yes. And ang Pilipino, pag suot ng idol mo, saan ko mabibili yan?
Right.
I've talked to a lot of volleyball players, basketball players. I've talked to a lot of actors and actresses. If it's an honest-to-goodness campaign, not for a specific company.
Yeah.
Kasi, syempre, may professional duty sila, no?
Yes,
Yung sa
yes.
advertising. But if it's to promote Philippine-made, they're willing to do it. So, Maria, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to get this country going. Ang daming low-lying fruits.
Yes.
No? Ang problema nga is really leadership.
So I have 2 last questions, and I know we have to let you go soon. The first is really in terms of the way you framed the argument, and again, he's laid out a conspiracy among the elites in the society. So the way you've laid this out and the way the campaign's been run pushes a class struggle. Aren't there dangers in that?
It's beyond class struggle, because even the ABC is supporting Mayor Duterte. It's just a few people.
Okay.
It's symptomatic in the Makati Businessman's Club. We got there, Mayor Duterte gave a terrific speech. It was a terrific speech. One of his best speeches because it contained the Duterte fire in the belly, but it talked about policy.
Yeah.
Talked about land reform, talked about his priorities, agriculture, health, education. He talked about red tape. I looked at what Mar Rojas and what Grace Po said. Grace Po and Mar Rojas basically made the business community hear what they wanted to hear. Duterte went there and basically told them, I'm not going to kiss your asses, but I know that business is business and that you make the economic wheels go round.
Right.
So this is what you can expect. So a lot of them congratulated us. Some of them texted us great speech. A few didn't like it, but those who were interviewed were basically the Mar group. And they've been the one supporting him, moving them. I mean, we all know each other. I mean, let's not know about it. Okay. And then, one or two brokers were kinausap or were convinced that the stocks are going down because daw of a Duterte lead.
Yeah.
But you talk to a majority of the brokers, it's a regional thing. And it happens into Philippine elections, basta't may dayaan elections, people are getting out their money to use for the election or to have cash. Then internationally, talagang nagwi-withdraw ngayon ng konti. There's trouble in the economy in China and other areas, no? So, but it's all being pinned on Duterte. Lahat na lang ng masama sa Pilipinas, Duterte. Why is it not a class struggle? Because each class has its frustration.
Yes.
And it's not just sa dila. That's why I said, di ba, Panay Aquino at Marcos na lang ba tayo? No? For the last 50 years, it's all been about the Marcoses and the Aquinos and their proxies. So it's not really a class struggle, but it's really about, it's really the change. We adopted the Western form of government, but only in form, not in substance. And government has always been on our back.
Yeah.
Diba?
And this is the last question. I mean, you've seen all the different campaigns through the years, and you've been running this campaign 3 days before. I guess the lessons you've learned, what does this show about Filipinos and what they want?
Well, if you'd allow me, no.
Please.
A favorite verse, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Regardless of our religion, to our brothers and sisters in all religions, look at that verse. You have to have a vision. From that vision, you have to have a plan. But you can have the perfect vision and plan, but you don't have faith and you don't have action, wala kang political will, wala rin mangyayari. And what underlines God's plan? Choice. You have to pick God. Because the devil also has his plan to cheat, to steal, to kill. So, you elect slow politicians, your internet will be slow, your LRT will be slow. You elect corrupt politicians, services will be compromised, diba? So, first thing I learned in this election is that it's all about choice. No? And the second thing I learned that maybe because of the social media, maybe because of the young people now who are more active, maybe because of the frustrations, people actually now see that they have a choice. Diba? That's why I said miracle win sa akin. Why? Because you have a Salonga-Rocco doctrine, diba? Na parang, best president we never had, Salonga. I would have voted for him pero hindi mananalo. Best president I ever had, Rocco, but natatalo na kaya nag-GMA o nag-FPJ na lang ako, no? But now, people are sticking with you. So you'd see you have 18 to 20% with Mar and Grace, despite the fact na ang lamang na yung isa, and then a little bit lower kay Binay. Dati at this case, lipatan na yan.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
So that's the second lesson. People now realize they have a choice. Third lesson, nothing beats being authentic. You can hire the best people. You can get the best consultants, best commercials. Pero lalabas yun no?
Yeah.
We owe you a lot for using that word, a man of contradictions, because it really put into perspective what and who Duterte is. But Mar struggled once there was the disqualification case kay Grace and all this pa-cute, more showbiz type of campaign. Walang laman yung campaign. So, I mean, I challenge the Grace po people yung saying na she's the champion of foundings, women, etc. Look at her record. It was always a different senator who championed everything you're saying Grace champion. That's why when you look at that's why people were leaving diba? Because it's not authentic no? So that's the third thing I learned. Fourth is really the capacity to change. You said, I'm part of the establishment, but I can be anti-establishment. You were part of the establishment, but you took a leap of faith, and now the day will come where Rappler is the establishment, diba? So we have the capacity to change. So let me stop with those four things, diba? That God has a great plan, but we have to make a choice. We do have a choice. We have a capacity to change, and people really want change, or people are active and out there talaga.
I will. So we're going to close this, but again, you are headed off, and you've heard it here first that the conspiracy of the elites against the Duterte
Of some elites.
of some elites, and
We know who they are.
And the tipping point were the negative campaign, that negative ads that triggered last night, and you move forward to actually look at filing a case against this.
Yes.
Okay. Please continue with the questions. The wheel will continue starting tomorrow. Will be around the clock. We've been talking to Senator Alan Peter Cayetano about the May 9th elections. It is 3 days before. Think through your options. Vote wisely. I'm Maria Ressa. Thank you for watching.